What would you do if your first day on the job began with a rule sheet that said, "Never look out the windows after 2 a.m., no matter what you hear"? I didn't laugh when I read it. Not after the ice outside started tapping, like knuckles, begging me to look. Most people avoid the Arctic. Too cold, too dark, too empty. But for me, broke and desperate, a security job at a remote research facility sounded like a blessing. Good pay, free housing, hazard bonus. The plane dropped me on a snow runway, and a truck took me across miles of frozen wasteland until the facility came into view, just a cluster of steel buildings half buried in ice. No signs. No logos. Just floodlights cutting through endless white. The captain, a silent man with hollow eyes, didn't shake my hand. He slid me a laminated sheet, corners worn, edges bent, smudged from years of greasy gloves. At the top in red block letters: Facility Security Rules. He didn't explain. Just said, read them. Follow them. If you break one, we won't find your body. That night, I learned he wasn't joking. Rule 1, never look out the windows after 2 a.m. The first night, I sat in the control booth, heaters humming, sipping stale coffee. Past midnight, I heard it, slow tapping against the glass. Not random, not ice cracking. Knuckles. A rhythm, steady. My gut told me to look. Curiosity crawled in my skull. Then the rule screamed in my head. I gripped the desk, nails digging into wood, staring at the cameras instead. The tapping grew faster, louder, until it was a full knock, 3 sharp raps. Then silence. By morning, I dared to glance. Frost coated the window, but there were handprints in the ice. Too long. Too thin. Not human. Rule 2, if the power fails, don't move until the backup lights turn on. On the third night, the floodlights outside blinked out. Total darkness swallowed the facility. My heart kicked, and I almost ran for the breaker. But the rule sheet was clear, don't move. So I froze in my chair, ears straining. Something scraped across the roof. Heavy, deliberate, circling the building. My breath fogged, even though I wasn't near the glass. Minutes felt like hours. Then, without a sound, the red backup lights buzzed to life. The scraping stopped. When the main lights flicked back on, the roof camera showed nothing. Just wind-blown snow. But the satellite dish was bent, like something huge had leaned against it. Rule 3, if the radios go quiet, don't call anyone by name. Every guard carried a radio. Chatter was constant, check-ins, weather updates, boredom. Until one night at 1:12 a.m., the channel cut. Dead silent. I panicked and grabbed the mic. Almost said, "Carter, you there?" Then I remembered the rule, never call names when it's quiet. So I said nothing. 5 minutes later, the silence broke with static, and a voice, my voice, came back. "Daniel. Come outside. Bring your flashlight." Except I hadn't spoken. The radio went dead again. The next morning, one guard's bunk was empty. His radio lay on the pillow, cracked in half. Rule 4, never go below sublevel 3. The facility had 5 underground levels. They told us only scientists were allowed below 3. But curiosity eats at you during endless nights. One evening, the elevator doors slid open on their own. Inside, the panel glowed, sublevel 4 lit up. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. The doors stayed open, humming. Cold air poured out, sharp and metallic, like blood and ozone. From deep below, I heard it. A wail. Not human. Layers of voices screaming in harmony. The doors finally shut, groaning, and the panel went dark. I never went near the elevators again. Rule 5. If the alarms sound but no one runs, don't either. Around 3 a.m., the klaxon blared, deafening, red light strobing. I shot up, ready to sprint, but froze. The other guards didn't move. They sat stiff, eyes forward, as if they didn't hear a thing. My instincts screamed at me to run. But my legs locked. Through the window, floodlights lit the snow. Shapes shifted in the storm. Dozens of tall, thin figures moving toward the building. Then the alarm cut off. The figures vanished. The guards blinked, like nothing happened. One turned to me and said flatly, "You'll learn. Rule 6, if you see yourself on the cameras, shut them off. Night shift drags. You start staring at the cameras just to pass the time." One night, 2:46 a.m., I froze. Camera 6, hallway outside the barracks. I was on the feed. Walking slowly, head lowered, flashlight in hand. Except I was sitting in the booth, staring at the screen. The other me stopped, tilted its head toward the camera, and grinned. I killed the feed, hands shaking. The next morning, I checked the hallway in daylight. Boot prints in the snow led up to the door. My size. My tread. But I hadn't left the booth. Rule 7, never talk to the scientists after midnight. The scientists were strange enough during the day, pale, twitchy, always scribbling in notebooks. But after midnight, the rule sheet said don't talk to them. I didn't believe it until one of them knocked on the security booth window at 12:30. Thin man, glasses fogged, lips moving fast. I cracked the door. "You okay?" He leaned in close. His eyes were black, like ink spreading. His words slurred together, "We're not supposed to be here." "Neither are you." Then he turned, walked into the snow, barefoot, and disappeared into the white. No one mentioned him the next morning. His lab coat and badge were gone from the racks. Like he'd never existed. Rule 8, leave before the 6th sunrise. The last rule wasn't for every night. It was final. No one stays more than 5 nights. Leave before the 6th sunrise. I lasted exactly 5. On the morning of the 6th, my ride was waiting. Helicopter blades chopping the frozen air. As I climbed aboard, I glanced back at the facility. Every window was dark. Every floodlight out. But pressed against the glass, in a line across the building, were pale hands. Dozens of them. Watching me leave. I quit that job the moment my boots hit solid ground. The paycheck is still uncashed in my drawer. But some nights, when the wind howls outside my apartment, I hear faint tapping on my windows. Slow. Rhythmic. I don't look. Because I still have the rule sheet. And I know they weren't written for the Arctic alone. Backhand index pointing right. Drop a comment. Would you last 5 nights in that facility, or quit on day 1? Smash subscribe if you'd even try.